But why won't these memories go away? Memory? Now I will tell you how to be happy. All desires need someone else so that you can fulfill the desire. But happiness does not come from another person, though you attribute it to them. It is like a dog who chews on a dry bone until its own tongue and gums start to bleed, and the dog enjoys the taste of the blood, thinking that it comes from the bone. So it is the instant when you are finished with your desire that gave you happiness, not the object of your desire. You need to separate from the object of desire to be happy. And so if it really was the object which made you happy, you wouldn't need to separate from it. When the work is finished, the mind returns briefly to its source because it doesn't have another object. That time nobody knows because the mind is in its source, and there is only happiness. But then you see another object, and your memory is engaged, and you do it again. Like this, you spent millions of years not knowing that the happiness comes from within you. When you know this, there is no question of renouncing anything or even getting rid of your physical desires, because you know happiness is within you, and so no physical attachment or relation can trouble you. If you have to eat food, it will not stand in your way. Like this, all your body requirements and biological desires are dealt with. They are all equally important. Don't give any more importance to the desire for sex than the desire for food. Just always keep in mind that I am the source of happiness, and enjoy. But don't get involved with it because that is only a body involved with another body. Just see that both the bodies are enjoying. Let them enjoy. This is a very simple trick. Just enjoy, witness it, and don't get involved in it. The one who is involved is different than the witness. Can you answer my third question? Look at the faces of those sitting behind you. So many people have benefited from what has been said. They have such peaceful and happy faces, but you didn't get it. You will just have to suffer for another 35 million years. You are an Indian and you are not getting it. That is why so many people are coming from the West. You must be ashamed of yourself. The answer to your questions is written in the tears of joy on this girl's face. Your face looks like a sheep. When there is peace, there must be rain. But your eyes are as dry as the bones of a dead ass. Kabir used to try to help people, but none has been helped, because nobody came to him for satsang. Kamali, his daughter, said to him, "Father, you are wasting your time. Nobody comes to you for satsang." The next morning, nobody came. Like you, they came for some other purpose. I know your purpose, but I will not disclose it because you will not like it. The people who come to find their own source of happiness will instantly get it. This is the kind of help that is available to you now if you look. It is up to you. If you are bent upon not getting it, it is your choice. I can't force you. You are welcome to come here and I will do the best I can to serve you, but if you don't need this service, I am happy with you. You can do what you want. You can have sex with 365 women like the former Sultan of Lucknow did with his 365 wives. You can still see the houses that he built for his wives and the summer quarters which were built under the river. But even with so many wives, he was still hungry for sex, and he died this way. The English came and attacked Awadh under the command of Colonel Young. Everybody ran away except for the Sultan. He just sat where he was and continued to drink. The colonel came to him and asked him why he did not run away when he had a chance. The Nawab's reply was that there were no servants to put shoes on his feet. This is the luxury that he had enjoyed. So why don't you enjoy a woman every day of the year? You say your question is unanswered? Well, I can't help you anymore. Papaji, I have experienced the death of my ego just now. The depth of your ego? Cello. As a child, I was abused physically and emotionally, and it is still a distraction. I know this is difficult, but you should not carry so much excess baggage filled with dead rats. Try to forget the past and stay here for a while. But I was raped by my grandfather, my father, and my uncle when I was young. Of course, you can't forget this so easily. This memory will stay for a long time. But here you will come to know that you are not this body which has been abused. You will know that you are the soul, the Atman, and that nobody can touch Atman. Atman has no relations because it is everything. This is true. You are Atman. You are untouched. Know this. It will work. I have also always been so fearful since this. I have been able to forgive them, but this fear persists. I push the fear away during the day by keeping physically busy, but at night it comes back. Physical activity will not help. You must keep your mind busy. It is like the newlyweds at the office who can do their work but can't keep their minds off their spouse. Keep your mind busy with the question, who am I? This question will keep you busy. Always investigate who you are, where you came from, and what your purpose is. Then you will forget everything else, including all relationships. Keep your mind inside. Concentrate all the time on this advice. I know you can do it because it is the injured mind which is more capable of reaching peace. Don't worry. Stay here for your stay in happiness, and when you go, leave your baggage of worries here. All the children who have been abused in their childhood somehow should not carry this for the whole of life. Past is past. It takes time, but somehow you must forget. You are advised to forget the past. The parents who abuse their children will reap the fruits of their sins. You have not done anything wrong, so why should you cry? They will cry here and in hell, so you have to forget it. I was sexually abused by my father, but now I am experiencing such clarity and the ability to deal with this and how it has affected my entire life. I had a longing for a father who would not betray me, and I even didn't trust you. Of course you are afraid of a snake. You will also be afraid of ropes lying in the path which looks like a snake. Many people come here with this problem and slowly have forgotten it. It takes time to heal. This wound is very deep. So don't worry. As a fence protects a field, so the parents must protect the child. If they themselves are abusive, who can save the child? So the wound is deep. The joy of letting this old story go is overwhelming. It has also helped to have a partner who is truly here. It is often useful to divert yourself, and so this boyfriend is a very good remedy that you have picked up. The more you get attached to a natural, loving relationship, the more you will forget about the unnatural relationships of the past. I have so much love and gratitude for you. Before coming to you, I was a therapist. Now I am wondering what will happen when I go back. You will be a better therapist because you will have greater understanding and much greater compassion. Simply your touch and your sight will help people, and this is compassion. Before, this work was a profession for you. Now it is a compassion. You can do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do it. Wherever you will be here. So all of this is your domain. Wherever you will be your consciousness. This is your abode, your place, your happiness. Work in this peace and happiness and teach all your friends to be happy. Give them this simple secret on how to be happy, and you can do whatever you want. This secret will work itself, by itself, within itself. There will be no doing on your part, no pride of ego. You see, you will be working in a totally different way. Your work and your actions will not be dictated by mind and ego. You will be very spontaneous and natural. This work is not a hindrance to peace and inquiry. Any occupation you can continue with the grace of the teacher. People of all occupations have been enlightened. Carpenters, barbers, kings, and weavers. Just stay with the teacher if you want enlightenment, and it has to happen. I wish you the best of luck. Bon voyage. Thank you so much. It is very good that you came here. I love you. I am a writer, and I feel that if I pick up my pen, I won't be free. That is not what I am speaking. To work, you need your physical body to carry on your physical activities. These activities you carry in the waking and dream states, but you don't have them in the sleep state because there is no mind in the sleep state. You don't need mind for enlightenment, and you don't need any for activity. Let your hand go on working, but know that inside there is something which is always quiet. This quietness is never disturbed. You can load that in your heart, but it will not interfere with your daily activities, so these activities can be continued. It is like a woman who is in love with the neighbor. Her husband goes to the office and her children go to school, and she takes care of them better than otherwise so that they do not smell that she loves the neighbor. But as soon as they are gone, she jumps the wall to be with her beloved. Like this, you must love your beloved. Keep this love sacredly and secretly in your heart, and nobody will know. But outwardly you can be busy with so many things. Papaji, my job in Germany is very minded. I have to think a lot. Is there any way to combine this work, which requires so much thinking, with being quiet in the mind at the same time? You can look after your projects better when you are quiet in mind. If your mind is disturbed, you can't do a good workshop. You can't even teach. Suppose you came to work at 10 o'clock, but before you came to work you had a fight with your wife, and she showed you a chapel on your head. How will you teach? You can't. But if you are quiet, you will have forgotten about what happened in the house when you enter into the workshop. Whatever you do, you are quiet. But you do not know it. You can test it yourself. Before any manual work, before speaking, before thinking, you are quiet. Do you follow what I speak about? Before any activity, mental or physical, you are quiet. And so the activity comes from quietness. If you remain quiet throughout your work, it will be very beautiful. You only forget you started from quietness, just as a child starts with laughter, but forgets this joy as people abuse him more and more. But if by good luck this child attends satsang, he will remain as he is. This is beauty. You are not to forget your inherited nature, and your nature is quietness. With satsang, train yourself so that you are always happy and quiet, because unhappiness, suffering, and tension is not your natural state. To have good work, you must combine this quietness with it. Good work will always happen when you are quiet, when you are not disturbed. Then only the goodness will come out of your work. So many of the great discoveries of the great scientists occurred in this quietness. Even things which are beyond hope of success will be successful when you are quiet. Sometimes I feel I must give up my work and become a real seeker. This is not necessary. A real seeker does not mean that you have to leave your family, your house, your country, and go to the caves of the mountains. Nothing will happen. It is not that the cave will give you freedom. It is your ambition. Your ambition that I am going to be free in this life is quite enough. Keep this ambition alive, whether at work or out of work. This will pay you in the end. Even while working, it will remain the same. Suppose someone has a toothache and they meet a friend going to the beach. They will say, "First, I will go to the dentist and get my tooth fixed. Otherwise, I will not be able to spend good time with you on the beach because I will be in too much pain." So remove all your troubles if you want to enjoy on the beach. Remove every trouble that you have in your mind. So you can combine your work with this quietness wherever you go. But your decision must be firm like a rock, that I am going to be free, I am going to be in peace, love, and beauty in this lifespan, in this year, today. I am a lawyer, but I fear that this will succeed in distracting me from the truth. Do not fear and continue the work which has come to you. You are an advocate, so help the innocent when they are in trouble. Advocates are needed for this. Know the laws and give advice accordingly. It is a good profession. Don't worry. Whatever profession is given to you, do it with full consciousness and awareness. Perform it as demanded of you. In 10 days, I'm going to join the Israeli army. I do not know if it is the right thing to do, though it is compulsory. Go to the army and practice what you have learned here in Lucknow. It will work. I was also a soldier in the army, and it didn't make any difference. An army man is better placed because he has a weapon and understanding side by side. Lift up your rifle only when needed. It is a good safeguard to ensure that no one attacks you. Also in the army, you must be alert, like you are in satsang, and you will also learn concentration and meditation better than a typical civilian. They will also teach you concentration when you align the sights of your rifle with the target. Then you will practice pranayama, breath control, because you must shoot between the breaths and the heartbeats. You can be helpful to your country. They have a reputation for having good soldiers. The country with a strong army will stay independent and not become dependent slaves. I always feel that man should be as brave as a soldier. You cannot meditate if you are not strong enough. Freedom is freedom. Freedom from invaders, freedom from the ego, freedom from the mind, and everything else. You have to win freedom for yourself, and it won't work unless you are strong and your circumstances are favorable, unless they are peaceful and lovely. You can't practice anything. First, look at the neighborhood. It is more important than your apartment. Kabir was a weaver, living among a community of rascals and thieves who would spit on him as they walked by. Though he tried to help them, eventually he just kept quiet. He said, "Kabir, you are living among the stupid people. You just keep quiet and let the others reap what they sow, the fruit of their karma. Ego is more wicked than any men you will ever fight, so you have to be careful. When you have to meditate, sit quiet and search for freedom. See to it that these enemies do not touch you. This neighborhood of mind, ego, and senses is not good. We are all living in the company of these wicked enemies, and we do not know when they are going to attack us, though most people are happy with these attacks. You have to be like a warrior and fight the traps and tendencies set by the ego. Fight by totally surrendering yourself to peace. So let go. Keep quiet. Sit down and don't worry who does what. They will reap the fruit of their karma. This is how to live wisely in this world. Very few people have lived this way. Always face the self. If a thought comes, let it come. If it stays, let it stay. If it goes, let it go. If you are on a battlefield, fight. If you are in the forest, keep quiet. And whatever you do, forget it and focus on self. When I was 20 years old, I was drafted into the Australian Army and spent a year fighting in Vietnam. Now, 25 years later, the nightmares still haunt me and my nervous system is shattered. I often consider that life is not worth living, though I also feel very close to a beautiful void which I know is my true nature. Please guide me home. Why do you fear fighting? Every soldier has to fight as you did. I also fought, but I was not troubled if I had to fight or I didn't. Fear arises when you are in front of a soldier of another country. The void that you speak about is the same as when someone is pointing an LMG at your chest and you are pointing a 303 at theirs. At that time, there is a void. Nobody knows who the killer is and who is killed. You need not be afraid of either. Your duty is to fight for your country, and you do this. It is better to die fighting for freedom than to live as a slave. Void means, how do you come to this void that you know that you are? Void means that you don't see any person, concept, or object. There is no difference between freedom and the place with no person, concept, or object. So then you must stay as such always. This is your fundamental nature. Don't be afraid. Here is beauty, here is love, here is eternity. Why be afraid of it? Here is peace and bliss. No one can taste it because they fear the void. This is your home, and it is where all must return. Let it not be too late, or you will repent later. Therefore, now is the time. Just spend an instant on you, on this void, an instant, a finger snap, a second, half a second. Half of a second is quite enough. You should ask how you didn't get it. Nobody has spent this half of a second. Though people may live for 100 years, they cannot spend an instant on themselves because they are hunting something else. They want some person or object to be with. Now you do it here. In this second that I speak about, do not think. For one finger snap, do not think and do not make any effort. Then tell me what happens. I said, don't think. You are still thinking. When you do not think, your face will be very different. Try to do it now, though trying is not really needed because you will only try those things that you have heard of or read about. Trying is always for something of the past, not for what is immediately present. The present doesn't need any thinking. When you don't think, you will see that you have achieved everything worth achieving. Then you will not repent even in the face of death. And when death comes, she will be afraid of you. Try it. Do you have anything more to ask me? I do not know what not trying means. The trying, the trial, must belong to the past. Tell me what does not belong to the past. Tell me what you have tried that you have not heard from some person. It comes from the past, and so your accomplishment belongs to the past. But this is not the past because it is not time. There is no past, no future, and no present. So you will get it by not trying, not making any effort. Now do you understand the meaning of trying? Yes, yes. When you do not try, you are quiet. But when you try, you are in trouble. I so enjoy being in your presence. How can I live in the world without throwing away things and without holding on to them? It is like the choice of either throwing your money out the window, putting it in the bank, or giving it to friends. I will tell you how the wise use money by taking you to the banks of the Ganga in Calcutta. There was a man there who had some coins on his right side and some pebbles and stones on his left. With his left hand, he throws a stone into the Ganga, and with his right hand he throws a coin. Then he saw whether or not there was a difference. Like this he threw them in every day. Whatever money came to him, he would throw it into the Ganga. Finally he found no difference between the stones and the money. This man was no other than Ramakrishna Paramahansa. See money for what it is and don't be trapped by it. We must learn from these stories. I was in Madras in 1945 when I read this story of Ramakrishna. After I read it, I went to Marina Beach and threw everything I had into the sea, not even saving the bus fare home to Mount Road where I was also working. One day my wife and children wanted to come with me. Generally, I went there alone on a Saturday night and would spend the whole night until dawn meditating. So I said to my wife, "When I come here, I throw away everything that I have, and so you must do the same. Throw away your jewelry from your hands and ears and feet and neck." But she didn't want to do it because she couldn't understand why. About a week later, our house, which we rented from a school teacher who lived below us, was robbed. This man below us had 6 daughters and a boy with polio who couldn't walk. Just look at the fortune of this man. We were coming home from the temple where Krishna Janmashtami celebration was going on. As we approached our house, I could see the school teacher descending on a ladder down from the balcony from our house. We went into the house and discovered that all my wife's jewelry had been stolen, along with all the money, all the saris, and the rent receipts. I knew that the landlord had taken them, but I assumed that he took them to keep them safe in his part of the house. After a few days, I received a legal notice from an advocate that I had not paid the rent for a year, and I had to pay. But since he had stolen the receipts, what could I do? He was very much in need of money, and I had actually paid 3 months in advance. So I appeared before the magistrate and explained everything, and how this teacher was so in need of money to support his family and to pay the necessary dowries for all his daughters. The magistrate asked, "Did you lodge a police report about the theft?" I replied, "No, I saw him take the items and thought he would return them." The magistrate understood and could see that I was honest, and so he said, "Punjaji, in these days you take care, because this kind of honesty does not help you." The case was dismissed, and as we were moving out of the house, the neighbors told me that he does this with every tenant. So you must use your discrimination and do the right action at the right time. We have discrimination, and we must use it before we do things. This is what the story is about. On the 7th day of the dismissal of the case, the only son of the teacher died. Soon after, this man was bitten by a snake and died at the age of 50. If you cheat someone, the nature is not going to leave you alone. You will experience the consequences. I asked his wife and children if they knew that this was the result of what he had done. He could not bear it and had to die. Then I asked them about the stolen jewelry, which I knew that she knew about because she had been holding the ladder for her husband. But she totally denied it. I couldn't believe it. Even though her husband had died and the case was dismissed, she still spoke lies. Yet I offered my help to her. So this is the world. You are helping me to get rid of my attachments with money. You may be attached to money, but money is not attached to anyone. It comes, stays, and goes. This question must have come from the money because it does not want to stay with you. Money never stays with anybody. Just be quiet and don't worry, and the blessings will be with you. I feel that I have come home, and so I would like a new name to celebrate and to have for guidance. I will give you the name which means wealth, but you must use this wealth wisely and not like some foolish rich people. When the Shah of Iran fled to America, they checked his hand baggage and found a huge fortune of diamonds. Now what will he do with all these stones while in exile? He can't eat them. If he would have used some of this money to help his people and his country, he would have stayed the Shah, and Iran would have been a happier place. This is the duty and the purpose of the rulers and the rich. But instead, he was greedy, and look what rubble Iran and the world has now, just because of greed. Like this, so many people have so much money and diamonds and think that they are rich. The truth is, They are not rich at all. Not at all. So be wise with the money that is given to you and know what true wealth is. Raising children. When do we first start to become aware of the ego, and when does I first start to rule our lives? This is a very good question that nobody asks. When does the ego start? How and why does the ego start is a very good question. It starts with the parents, I think. They introduce relationships, and hence, the ego starts to separate, and the child belongs to sisters and brothers and relations. Then a priest baptizes you and tells you that you are a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim. And the ego starts to think that it is superior to others because a priest said that others will go to hell, because you will go to heaven. So there is a religious ego, as well as one of the country thinking that your country is somehow superior. Like Americans who think themselves superior to all, and this is true in terms of money and warfare. This just supports the ego, like the way the world goes to America for food and education. The ego, I am German, or I am American, or I am Indian, is a barrier that is very hard to remove. But when you do, you will be a person belonging to the earth which is common. The sun is the same in Asia, Africa, or Alberta. It is the same sun and the same Mother Earth, the same sky and the same breeze, but we don't accept this which is common to all. If our relationship is based on wisdom, we will know that we all belong to one earth, one world, one universe. Then you will be able to understand the environmental oneness, and you will sit in peace within. How can you sit in peace when you are afraid that your neighbor is attacking you? When this fear comes, you can't sit quiet. You can't meditate. You can't have any satsang. So you must ward off the ego before you can start to be peaceful. Have no fear. My daughter is just starting the terrible twos. Is this the point where a person develops ego and moves away from a natural state of consciousness? I think the natural state of consciousness does not exclude your children, your relations, or anybody. Rather, it includes everything. It includes everything, and you are not to exclude yourself from anyone to be consciousness yourself. This self contains everything, and yet you can advance towards it. Some people don't understand and think that they shouldn't love their children and their relations, so they run away to the caves to be alone. But they are never alone. So I do not advise that one must reject everything. To realize yourself, you are not to take such a step. Sometimes she demands things very strongly, like toys or ice cream. So you are identifying as that sometime. Why not identify time as time? You consider it your time, and so in this time you have to do such and such thing. You have not yet understood how to see from a larger perspective. So if anything comes, let it be done through you. Then you will have no problem with sometimes. Whatever comes, just react. Just react. If a child is there, then kiss her. If she needs food, then give food. This is the way of living wisely. You express a fear that she is going to leave her natural state of consciousness. Truth does not leave you. You can stay. From truth we came to truth. We will return, and in the truth we live. If you have this understanding, you will not hate anyone, but you will love everybody. How can I help guide her? Will you help me so that I can help her? You must have full faith in yourself that you can stay wherever you are and that all action is done by that which is within. I am glad that you are taking care of the child and that you asked your questions. So many people keep their doubts but do not open their mouths. There are so many mothers, but they do not speak these things that you do. You are a lucky mother, because coming to satsang is absolute good luck. Stay on here for some time and you will know how to raise your children. how to raise your own self, and beyond all, how to raise something else which you do not know. It is not your children or your body, but something else. Slowly you will know what this something else is, which you have never known or heard of. Health and healing. Why you need a healthy body. Being a temple of God, the human body is a very rare gift of nature. It is a raft by which you can cross the ocean of samsara. Respect and adore this human birth. Do not waste it. Take very good care of your body and mind. Don't put the diamond in a plastic bag. You have to take care of your health because it takes a strong body and mind to be free. This strength and health has to be channeled. A strong body can sit in a strong posture, and a strong mind can make a strong decision. Keep the blessed form of your body in good shape. Healthy mind and body is important for freedom because when the body and mind are sick, the focus goes towards sickness and hospitals. Sickness and weakness steal too much attention to allow focus toward that. No pain is bearable or permissible. You should keep your body and mind as pain-free as long as possible. This is very important. Good health, strong mind, and desire for freedom is an excellent birth. Your body is your boat. Don't let the water of samsara in. How to keep a healthy body. The worst pollution to the body is bad thoughts, and the worst thought is I am the body. Your diet is also important to eat sattvic food. Simple food cooked with love and eaten with friends is tastiest of all, so take good care of your food. No consciousness cannot be touched, it cannot be sick, and it can't meet with an accident. Only the body becomes sick and meets with accidents and dies. Truth has no beginning or end. The causes of disease. You need a healthy body as a vehicle, but if you take yourself to be this vehicle, you will suffer because I am the body is the origin of pain. All diseases are minor complications of the disease of not knowing the Atman. So first take care of yourself, know yourself, and then take care of others. All diseases are from previous births and are carried into this life in the genes. The exception are those due to accidents which are carried in by karma alone. A mind attached to anything becomes a sick, weak mind. A weak mind will keep going to the garbage of attachment, and this causes the nervous system to get squeezed and weakened, so it cannot handle this very energetic decision for freedom. A strong mind is needed to make the strong decision and handle the power that will come with it. Do not fault beautiful nature for your poor health. It is your responsibility to stay healthy and to keep your body and mind in harmony with nature. Sickness is not the fault of the rain or the dampness or heat, but is the fault of your poor habits and foolish decisions. And your weakness caused by these habits and decisions. Otherwise there would be no sickness. Mind engaged in the past will make you sick. The body itself is a sickness. In this living moment, no one is sick. No, I am not the body, and you will be free from disease. Leave behind everybody, even I, and you will jump into this freedom. And where is this freedom? All pain belongs to objectification. Pain is only in the head, not in the heart. Heart needs no healing because nothing touches it. Only memory hurts, not heart. Only concepts suffer, not reality. I am the body is I am suffering. The body itself is a pain. I have a body is a pain. The body is inert. It itself cannot suffer. Only the concept of I am the body can suffer. there must be past if there is pain. Mind uses life force to fulfill vasanas and desires. Too many vasanas and desires can drain the life force out of you, leaving you weak and open to disease. What you think you become, and so consolidated vasanas become the physical body, and dormant vasanas manifest as the cycle of birth and death. Pure thoughts lead to pure vasanas and tendencies. Pure vasanas lead you to health, satsang, and freedom. Impure vasanas lead you to disease, mischief, and destruction. It's not in the lot of everybody to be happy and rid of old habits. The healing of disease. First, you must decide that you want to be free of pain and suffering. Without wanting this, nothing else will work. Inquiry is simply looking unto your own self, and this is how you will remove your illness. Direct your mind to consciousness and do not stir a thought. Here and now look unto your own self. Stay quiet. No reasoning, no understanding. Looking to other brings misery and sickness. Give up all notions. Mind is a notion itself, so get rid of it, and you will be free of pain and suffering. When I has dissolved into the self, then everybody is healed. So heal yourself before others. All diseases can also be cured by prana, even the disease of bondage. Prana is an energy that can be utilized for freedom, but with prana you still need an I. With awareness, you do not. Though we usually use the mind and awareness for freedom, prana also will work, but it needs special food and circumstances. Prana should not be disturbed by poor food and circumstances. Physical ailments and mental diseases must be removed. The firm decision, I am not sick, will cure you because you are what you think. So whatever you think, you will get. Think you are fine, and you are fine. Think that you are in hell, and you are in hell. Think I am suffering, and you are suffering. Replace the thought I am suffering with the thought I am free. I am freedom. I am consciousness. I am not the body. Do not kiss your ego by saying, I am suffering. Rather kiss yourself by saying, I am free. Healing your body is like doing the laundry. First know yourself, and then your body will be healed. Body is just a state of consciousness. Know the substratum. This is reality. You can use therapy to heal when needed, but don't get lost in it. Just find the source of sadness and mental suffering, and innocence will reveal itself. To forgive and forget is the best medicine for curing all pain. Let the thought that causes pain come into the present and discharge into emptiness. Do this now. Why do we have to give up the world of forms in order to be identified with self? I do not tell you to give up form to be identified with self. This form is the temple of God. You have to appreciate this form as you do God in the temple. The body is a temple. You have to worship it and keep it up very well. Don't waste this life and body by fasting. Don't be like some people who are so weak and unhealthy that they can't even sit in an asana to meditate. When they do sit, they fall asleep because they are too weak. So eat well and live well. This form is a gift from God so that you can recognize that within it. Can meditation help physical ailments? Yes, I have seen it many times. One woman who sat just once with me was cured of juvenile diabetes. Meditation will cure, but you must have full faith in what you want out of your meditation. Wisdom, light, and love will also be given by this meditation when you have a strong desire to get rid of physical ailments, because mental ailments are also cured. In some physical and mental diseases, people seem to go into a space of no thought. Is this also no mind? No. No mind gives you happiness, not suffering. The state of dreamless sleep is similar to no mind because sleep gives you happiness. The dream and waking state have mind, but not the sleep state. What you talk about is when the mind is in so much tension, it can't function. This is a sick mind, not no mind. With a healthy mind, your body, thoughts, and activities also are healthy. Be with those who have a sick mind and see that their needs are taken care of. This is all you can do. If there is something bothering them, you can change their circumstances. Whenever something old bothers you, you can do this. It helps a lot. If you are in a situation that is peaceful, then carry on. But if you are somewhere which disturbs your health, your mental health, and your neurological health, then you should stop it. Think about the consequences that the affair at hand will give you. Most diseases are brought from previous incarnations. Health is a matter of karma. Good health is good karma, and poor health is bad karma. If someone doesn't use their good karma and health to win enlightenment, it is bad karma, and they are stupid, foolish, and wasting their time. A sick person's mind is attached to fear and sickness, so they cannot get freedom. But those who are fearless and free of disease can devote this whole life to freedom. It is best to spend this life in the pursuit of freedom. So many people pursue sex and other short-term satisfaction and not permanent peace. They follow in the footsteps of sheep. Be healthy and strong and follow your own path like a lion. Don't let yourself be herded. People get so unhealthy by thinking and even kill themselves by thinking. They never just do something. When they walk, they think. When they drive, they think and get into accidents. You seem to be young-looking and healthy. How old are you? I am 53, but with a light in my heart, it is very easy to look young. And what food? Food is most important. You must have a vegetarian diet and spend your time with good people. The most important aspect of your life for living happily is your partner. They should be nice, sweet-tongued, healthy, and listening to you as a peer, not commanding you as a superior. This will relax you and give you a good life. To remain at peace, select a person who is very nice to speak to and to live with. They must be equal. If you ignore this, you will suffer. Together, take good care of your habits and you will look younger than your age. I prefer that you have vegetarian food. This diet will give you a peaceful mind because vegetables are sattvic. Eating animals can be very unhealthy because people take on their diseases and their unhealthy states when they kill and eat them. Use vegetables instead of meat, and you will have a peaceful mind because your mind is the essence of what you eat. You can give the gift of this diet to your parents also. I have such a painful back injury that I am not able to sit or walk. I have been weak for 3 years, and several times I thought I might die. How do I step out of body identification, especially when there is such constant pain? You cannot get rid of body identification when you are sick, so you have to get well. And after taking care of your physical problems, speak of other things. When a man is sick, he is always identified with his pain, whether he is in bed or out on the street. His mind is always on the pain. How can he inquire into his self? It is not possible. Someone who is having a toothache may be working in the office, but he cannot forget his toothache. After work, he will go to the dentist, and so all day this dentist is on his mind. So it is not possible at all unless your body is very strong and your mind is still. Both body and mind must be very healthy, and then you can speak about the realization of truth. Otherwise, it is not possible. You are advised to take care of your problems. Show it to some doctors. Sometimes I can watch and know that I am not this passing form. It is not true. How do I break free of this physical pain? You have to consult a doctor. Take good care of your body and mind so you can cross the ocean of desires. Take care of your body first, and don't speak of enlightenment before this. Pain must be removed, or you concentrate on pain. When the vasanas and pain arise, be strong and look at it. Pain only leaves by discrimination. When you know what is real, there is no pain. The more pain there is, the faster the thoughts arise. What can I do about this body that tortures me? What is this pain about? Where did you get it, and why did you accept it? It comes from my mind, and you accepted it. Do you like it? No, I don't. If you don't like something, what should you do with it? Throw it away. So why don't you throw this out? Admit that you love it. If you truly did not like it, it will instantly go away. If you vomit, do you put this vomit in your pocket? Do you keep what the stomach has not accepted? This is what suffering is, clinging to what should be let go of. Nothing can bother you unless you cling to it. Most people like pain and suffering and death, and this is why it is there. You have to decide that you want happiness, and it will be, because it is your nature, and it is due. First, you have to decide to be rid of this pain, or nothing else will work. If you want to keep it, no God can help you. Everybody has been suffering for millions of years. Now you have a beautiful body, so don't waste it. You may not have another chance for a long time. Simply say, I want to be free of all pains, all suffering, and all deaths. All of us are here to make this decision here and now. I want to be free. Don't wait. I get so angry and frustrated from it sometimes. Anger is a curse which cuts short your life by burning the entire nervous system and troubling your breath. Express your anger and kiss what makes you angry. It is no problem to get angry, just don't remember the circumstances which made you angry and don't carry anger or love. Forget everything. I had no intention to come here, but suddenly I find myself in your satsang due to my leukemia. If you have a deep will for something, it is fulfilled by good or bad circumstances. If you would have been a healthy woman, you wouldn't be here. 6 months ago, the allopathic doctors gave you 3 weeks to live, but Ayurveda has kept you alive this whole time. I know for certain allopathy could not cure this disease, but in Ayurveda it can be cured if the doctor is experienced. I have seen it. There are some herbs which can cure it. Now you are in satsang, and you will understand what life and death are. This understanding removes fear. I will give you a method that I use on people who are dying from a disease. This may even totally cure you. Sometimes I feel very disconnected with everything, and there is a great sadness because all suffering just cries out. This body is connected with objects, but when you are ill, those connections get cut off. It is the body which has relationships which come and go, not the Atman. Body means sickness. There is nobody in the world which is not sick. Even the babies have sickness following them. Body is disease itself, and so it has to die. So it is better to give up the identification with the body. You are untouched and cannot die, and you have no relations with anybody. This you must realize, and then you will be free of sickness, whether the body is thrown out or not. Don't care for that. I so much respect your unshakable commitment to Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, and how you destroy the darkness. In the last 2.5 years, I have not always been a good boy and often did not follow your good advice. Finally, all my bad habits led me to hepatitis, which shook me up like never before. You had hepatitis? Yes. It was a good disease. You had to stay in bed and look at your body and yourself. Yes, I realized that if there is no body, then there is no Buddha. So now I am taking care of my body. It is good that you learn even from hepatitis. It is good to get a teaching out of everything. You can learn from the disease also. It is a warning to a person that someone has done something that he should not have done. Perhaps drinking water or eating a food that he should not have. This warning must be taken care of and treated as a lesson so that you do not make any mistakes. Any disease that you get has something to do with your decision. Wrong decisions, wrong food, wrong association, and wrong environment are the causes of disease. You have to change them to get good health. With good health, you can do many things. With good health, you can meditate, not otherwise. You can't sit quiet if you have trouble in your eyes, nose, ears, or anything on your skin. Many people are suffering here and they say that they cannot keep peace. Other than this, you have a healthy, happy body. I have always been connected to you beyond mind and world, though we rarely had physical contact. May you be in your body longer than any Buddha before. This world needs people like you who hold the torch of wisdom so well. You have been named after the Buddha, and so you are well looked after by your own truth. But you wear Shiva on your chest. It is a love affair. Yes, learn about this. He has a trident in his hand and a dumulu in the other. This dumulu, this drum, is the dance of freedom he dances when the world is destroyed. He is very happy after destruction. The snakes around his neck mean fearlessness and the ability to drink the poison of the universe and yet keep happy. The snakes are desires, and he is fearless and immune to their poison. This is his jewelry, his decoration, the trident in his hand and the snakes around his neck and arms. He wears only a tiger skin, and when I saw him, Parvati and Badri Narayan, they were sitting on a bear skin. Everybody must be Shiva to be free of all the species of the universe. This is not a symbol, not only a legend, but everybody must be Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. I am Shiva. I am the most beautiful person in the world. I am peaceful. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. This must be your wish in this life. I am very happy to see you so happy and healthy. I have been genetically tested, and it has been confirmed that I have a fatal hereditary disease of the nervous system. I want your help. You have fear in your eyes, and it has spread throughout your body. Your skin is pale, and it shows the fear also. You have to remove the fear. I will tell you a story of fear. In the springtime in India, we celebrate a festival of colors called Holi. What most people do to celebrate is to throw colored powders and water on each other. One boy kept a bucket of blood-red water in the bathroom that morning to throw on his friends, but his father accidentally used it to wash himself after he used the toilet. When he saw the toilet was all red, he was instantly horrified because he thought he was covered with his blood due to some bleeding cancer. He thought he would be dead soon. He raced to the hospital where the doctors agreed with him. He was dying, quickly. The scalpel was inches away from his stomach as he laid on the operating table when the phone call came explaining the holy blood-red water. Instantly his fear was gone. His cancer was gone. And his dying was gone. After all, only fear had made him sick. So you have to remove this fear by disbelieving what the doctors say. You can remove the fear by meditation or by a mantra that I will give you. I have been diagnosed as having cancer. I don't know if it is worth fighting, but also it doesn't feel right just giving up. I have been doing Vipassana meditation and reading books like I Am That. Can you give me guidance? Would you have come to Lucknow if you had never had this disease? No. Would you have done Vipassana or read the book by Nisargadatta Maharaj? Maybe. Maybe not also. Maybe is doubt, and those who doubt are not decided, and they are not here. So this disease is welcome because it has brought you the understanding of how your life should change, and it brought you here. Without this disease, you would not have enjoyed your life with your partners and not turned to yourself. So this disease is welcome because it will make you fearless of death. Life must end, and whether it ends today or tomorrow doesn't make a difference. You must know that this body is not so important that if it gets worn out, you should change it with another body. It is like a t-shirt. Once worn out, you just throw it out and change to a new one. This life is a blessed life if you know you are not the body and not the mind. Knowing this, work in any disease land. Disease comes only to the body, and if you know you are not the body, it cannot trouble you. So now, forget about anything that is attached to your body. Leave everything. Forget all senses and objects of senses. What is left then? What is left if you forget about everything that is connected with your mind, body, and senses? What is left? Just here. So always think of just here. Walking, talking, waking, dreaming, sleeping. Only think of just here. And the result will be that you will know I am this and not that. This is the purpose of life. We all have come here to know who our Father is and where He lives. We all have come to return to Him. This is what we do here in satsang. We remind each other that we are only our own self and nothing else. We find out who is our own self. So think of this and talk about this, and it will come forward to you and reveal itself to you. You must, however, be very true and pure in your desire to meet it. You must decide that you will meet that which you have missed for generations. This desire must be very firm. Stay here and see what happens. I am a therapist working on the energy of people. Sometimes this gets out of control and goes spinning into pain, sadness, and anger. Most therapists are not happy and not healthy because as they relieve others of their pain and suffering, this all goes into their own minds and bodies. The therapist takes the pain and suffering even if they don't want it. This is a trap of the attempt to have compassion. It is better if you shift your profession. I can see that the pain of others has migrated from your mind to your face. The face is the index of mind. Get a profession which gives you happiness. Don't suffer at any cost. I feel that it is the business of the Creator to look after the world. He can cure everybody of anything and everything. But what will you help? All this world is meant for a place to suffer, and indeed everybody is suffering except a few like Saint Kabir. If you want to be happy and peaceful, find another job. I own and direct a medical center in Berlin, which keeps me very busy, but what I really want is the peace that I find with you. Do I have to sell my center in order to have this peace? You don't have to close your clinic. Doctors are very useful to people, and it is a good way to serve. This was originally a profession of compassion, though nowadays it is a profession more interested in making money than in showing compassion. You can have a normal life and carry on with your center without compromising what you have found in Lucknow. How can I use satsang in my healing practice? Do not forget your guru. Whatever you do is not your responsibility, but his. He will take care of everything. Just remember that it is the guru that takes care of everything. Is there a difference between healing and teaching? When you are healing, you cannot teach, and when you teach, you cannot heal. Healing takes a healer and a patient. The teaching takes no teacher and no student. Do you have any other advice for me as a doctor? As a doer, did you say? Remember that you are not the doer. You are a tool in the hands of the divine. Stop inflating your doctor arrogance and serve people instead. Remember that you have the power to heal people by simply verbally consoling and reassuring them because they trust you. This trick is in the hands of the doctor. Smile and tell them that they are all right. Doctors may help people after they get sick, but if they eat the right food and breathe clean air, they won't fall sick in the first place. So tell people how to stay healthy in the first place. Eating simple food prepared with love is one of the best medicines you could prescribe. This is even better than meditation. I am a midwife. How can I remove the feeling of guilt and the fear of fighting with the authority of the allopathic doctors? They have no respect for the midwife and say that using a midwife is irresponsible. Don't listen to what they say and go on with what you are doing. It is a very good and compassionate job. Don't get afraid. You should also experiment more with water births. I see colors on the faces of people which seem to indicate their inner spiritual and emotional state. What is the purpose of this? Can you tell me about it? I have been using this talent to give people advice. These colors that you see are your own imaginations. There is no significant reason for it. What you are inside, you see on the outside. If you are happy and loving, you will see that the people are happy and loving. If you are sorrowful, you will see that everybody is suffering. So maintain your own health first. Maintain your physical, emotional, neurological, and your social health also. Social health is not very well known, but it is responsible to keep you healthy. If you are living among the sheep, you will bleat like sheep only. So change your environment. It should be a good environment of like-minded people. Then you will be happy, and you will see the same colors on all the faces. Death and dying. The reason why everybody wants to avoid death is because eternity is our real nature. Death is not to be feared, because it is an enjoyable and happy occasion, and it only hurts one who has anger, greed, attraction, and aversion. Death only comes to an active mind. Even the gods must face death. All die, but there is no grief because the indweller lives. Death is only the 5 elements returning to themselves. The essence of wave, ocean, and raindrop is still water. Nothing can be lost. When a raindrop touches the ocean, it becomes ocean. So do not fear death, for nothing can ever be lost and nothing can ever be gained. Death only takes those who have become something. Death only takes the body, the dress. Death is a foolish notion. Samsara is desire. Desire is samsara. Desire creates the dream and propagates it. At the last moment of being in this body, all dormant tendencies, fears, and anxieties of the dream will manifest before you. The one that you are most interested in, the dearest thought that you see in this stream of mental events will be your next birth. Any footprints in your memory will be your next birth. At this moment, remember only self. Then the heart stops, the eternal heart will take over, so don't worry. When death comes, go laughing. I am having such a hard time being free of the trauma of my daughter's death. You are not in satsang if you are thinking about your daughter. Let these things be there. Who doesn't know the grave of a loved one? While here, stay here and not connected to the past. Make use of the present and what is presented to you in the present. It seems to me that death is permanent and the focus of love is gone. Is this so? If you remember that death is permanent, then you will know how to deal with things when they leave you someday. Even when your child was just born, the death was following her, and one day or another she would be swallowed by this monster, as will all the other beings. There is only one way to avoid death. That is, know thyself now. Everybody is in a coma. Everybody is senseless and sleeping. So the best way is not to waste time. Don't look for tomorrow. Do it now and find out what the reality is of the beings that appear to you. In the dream you have a relation with a beautiful girl, and you love with her for years. But when you wake up, where is this wife? Like this you have had wives and husbands for many births and brothers and sisters. Where are they? They are a dream. Anything that appears and disappears must be a dream. What does not appear and disappear must be real. Find out what it is within yourself. What is that something which has neither appearance nor disappearance? Find out now. Cello. I want to die. You can't. Your body may dissolve, but you cannot die. You are not the body. You will not die. This is the experience you will get here. You are beyond birth and death. You must settle this before the death of the body takes place. Understand what death and birth are. Stay here for a few days, and you will understand. The idea I am not the body is totally theoretical to me. Can you make it practical? You have to know that death is for the body and that you are that which will never die. There was a man and wife who lost their only son, and so they took the corpse of their son to a saint and asked him to bring him back to life. The saint said it would be very easy to do. All that they had to do was to bring a handful of soil from a house where nobody had died. So the husband and wife traveled all over looking for a place where nobody had died. But of course, they could not find such a house. Everywhere, everyone had experienced the death of loved ones. Finally, they returned to the saint endowed with knowledge of death. Whoever and whatever is born to die, for death follows all name and form. When there is satsang, there is no death, because the one in satsang knows that death is for the body only, and they know that they are not the body. Death is for the name and form. The nameless and formless one will never die. That is the one who had no attachment with the body, mind, ego, senses, or objects. Make this theory into practice by knowing your purpose. Is it to enjoy attachments, or is it to be free? Then your eyes will open and you will not be afraid of death. I see some other fear in your eyes. What is this fear? I fear that I will die right now. I feel that if I don't leave Lucknow, I will die, but I feel like I can't leave. This fear of death is in the mind, and it is genuine because it will be the death of the mind. Don't attribute the death of the mind to yourself. When the mind dies, you will live, and you will be free. Mind gives you this fear and compels you to run away because it is the death of the mind that is imminent. The death of desire happens in satsang, but this is mind only. Do not fear. Persist, persevere, stay here, and let your mind die. Stay here and overcome this death. Don't give your mind any more company. Don't be a coward. Invite death to come and you'll be eternal. You have only two choices. Allow the mind to live or let yourself live. This is your decision. What has happened to make this fear of death so overwhelming to you? Last month, my mother, my father, and one of my closest friends died in England while I was in India. It feels like I want to avoid death because I'm afraid of it. Nobody has ever avoided death, from the beginning to the present date. Everybody who is born must die, and since it is so natural, why be afraid of it? Why be afraid of death? Everybody must die, and by running away you will not save yourself. There is only one place where you can avoid death, and it is this place. Knowing that you have never been born, you are not going to die because you know that you are not the body. The body is born, and so it has to die. Inside the body is something eternal that you do not know. If you be that, who is going to touch you? If you know that you are not the mind or body or senses, that you are something within, who is going to touch you? If you know this, then your fear is gone. Actually, nobody is born and nobody dies. It is the mind that gives birth to this whole world. In the dream you are sick and the doctor says that you have only 1 week to live, and so you are afraid. This doctor, the disease, and the body, all were in the dream. But when you awake the next morning, where's the doctor and the dying patient? This you will know in satsang. It is all a dream. Wherever there is fear, you are dreaming. When fear arises, you are dreaming. All fears belong only to the dream. When you wake up, there is no fear at all. Waking up means no fear at all, and this is called the waking state. Then you will know that I am eternal. No death can touch me. This is fearlessness. So instead of running away, it is better that you go and console your family by telling them how to be free from fear. First remove the fear yourself, and then tell your friends and countrymen. Death will only take away something which has a form. Therefore, all form will die, but you are that which has no form. You will never die. So don't carry any form of fear. There just seems to be some terror about death. Simply understand that whatever is born must die. You cannot avoid it. Everybody is dead. Gods, sages, and saints, everybody is dead and will die, so do not be afraid of death. Death is a time of rest, when the bird flies out of its old cage. Death is a supreme mother, a loving mother for all beings who do not know that she really is loving and who fear her instead. The problem is that everybody speaks about death without ever experiencing it. Very few people speak about death and post-death from direct experience, and those who do are not afraid, but describe it as awesomely beautiful. This is the difference which generates so much fear of death. It is only the living that are afraid of death, not the dead. People have no authority to speak about something that they themselves have not experienced. Science cannot understand death. But once you know her, you will know that she is the Mother Supreme who gives you the rest that you couldn't give yourself. So don't be afraid of death. It is a very lovely contact. No dead person complains that it is not good. Sit with them, and perhaps you also will have peace. I have been praying for peace. Go to the source of prayer, and there is no need to pray. People who pray are atheists because they pray to stones and concepts. What happens when a self-realized person leaves their body? There is no such thing as a self-realized person, because only when there is no person will the self be realized. When there is no person, there is no question of coming or going. The person is just a temporary appearance in the unchanging self. Is this person the jiva, the soul? Yes, and the jiva is the doer, a bundle or accumulated desires, doubts, and fears. How to avoid death? Have you ever been quiet, without thought? This is the way to avoid death. Do it now. Don't think of past or future, and I will find out if you do. Saying you do it will not do. Doing it is to keep quiet for one instant of time. In between past and future, tell me who you are. I can't tell. You say I can't, but yet you are speaking. Who is it that says I have done it, and I can't say it? You have never done. You lie. I try to do it. This trying is for the future. You have been with some stupid people who taught you this. Can you talk about what happens to consciousness at the moment of death and after the death? What comes after death I will speak to you after death. How can I speak of things after death when I am now alive? You should have written to me after death. Don't forget now. Jello. My mother recently died, but I am not upset, because it is clear the self she is the self I am, and the self all around me. I do miss her, but I realize that I miss and loved her ego. I also appreciate your grace on the day that I found out that she died. You touched me so deeply. I am very happy with you. This is the teaching. Everybody who comes must go, and this nobody can change. But the fact is that nothing comes and nothing goes. This is the truth. As far as loving her ego, these are not allowed in satsang. Just as you leave your shoes outside, you must leave your head there as well. Losing your head for enlightenment is a very cheap bargain. Don't wait. This bargain has peace and wisdom on one side, and ego on the other. Take my head, please. When you say this, I can see the person who has no head. It is very beautiful. A few people are here who are very beautiful and are without heads. Satsang is the most beautiful to those who come without a head, without ego. Can you speak of death and dying and heaven and hell? These are notions imposed on you. Along with the notion of heaven, you have the notion that you are not in heaven. This is an impediment. You have to rid yourself of all these impediments in order to be free. You have to be rid of the impediment, I am not free. That is why you have come here. It is to be free. It is not to be free, but for the affirmation and confirmation that you have always been free. Your whole life has been a long string of repeated affirmations. I am bound. I am suffering. I will die. These are notions that you have entertained. Simply get rid of them. Freedom is within, just waiting for you, ready to hug you, but you turn your back. If anything is death, it is turning your back on yourself by carrying your own notions, ideas, and intentions of bondage and suffering. Now find who is bound and who is suffering. Find out who you are. You are not the dress, not the skin or the hair or the nails. You are not the bones or the muscles or the brain. You are not the ego or the mind or the senses. Reject all these just for one moment, and what is left? Reject what you are not, and what is revealed in front of you? If you are not all these things which appear and disappear, what are you? What remains? Just I. I will remain, and this I will not die. What you have rejected will die, but what remains, after all, is rejected before the concept of death and birth. Arrive home and recognize yourself simply by getting rid of all these notions that you have entertained for so long. I am a body, a mind, an ego, senses. I am this manifestation. All these are notions and vanish in the sleep state, But since sleep is an ignorant state, you do not see what remains after these notions vanish to allow sleep. So find who is awake in the sleep state. That you are, that you must be, and that is free. Even the states of waking and dreaming and sleeping, do not touch that. Let alone death and dying and heavens and hells. That will never die, and that you are. Even if you say, I am not that, who is it that is conscious to know that you are not that? What is conscious of ignorance and doubts? Who is conscious of suffering and happiness? What consciousness is here, which is needed to even raise a doubt that you are consciousness? There is nothing you can do to escape the truth because it is what you are. What is unreal is not even here now, even if I try and pretend. Exactly. Once you know that a rope is not a snake, it can be hard to imagine it to be the snake even if you try. Yet the rope has never changed. It has all been your notion, including the sticks and stones you picked up to kill the snake. Go and see for yourself that it is a rope. Keep quiet and abandon all notions and ideations and intentions. It seems like a lot of unlearning. It is getting rid of all the things you have been keeping in your bags and then getting rid of the bags. Then what is unlearned will reveal itself to itself. Speaking of bags, I am reminded of a sannyasin who visited me about 20 years ago. He was quite famous in the south and had 17 ashrams but was obviously not satisfied. He had come to Haridwar with 2 busloads of his disciples on their way to Bandrinath. The Swami was 80 years old and I was 60. He came alone to my hotel room after hearing from some friends that I may be able to help him. He strolled in and announced what we were not going to talk about. He said, Punjaji, I have been a yogi all my life. You have seen my picture in the papers. I was buried alive underground with no food, air, or water for 40 days in a controlled experiment with scientists and doctors to prove the power of yoga. I simply went into samadhi and that was it. So I know yoga, and there is no need to talk about it. He continued, also for decades I have studied in depth all the Vedas and Upanishads, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and the Brahma Sutras, Bhakti Sutras, and the Yoga Sutras, and all the books of all the religions, so we are not going to talk about all these. I teach all of this in my ashram, so there is nothing in any scripture that you can teach me. Furthermore, you are not to say anything about tantra, yantra, or mantra, and don't mention dhyana or jnana either. So, Punjaji, I have come here for your help. Is there anything that you can say to me? I said, Swamiji, there is, but first please the garbage that you just hauled in my room with you. Will you please take this bag and put it outside and then enter again? Then I will speak about something that you have not mentioned. He just looked at me, not understanding what I was saying, so I repeated. I said, Swamiji, I am here to help you, but you will first bring this bag of garbage outside the door. Then when you come back in, just leave it all out there. He went to the door slowly and turned around shocked. He looked at me and I looked at him. Then he came into the room and tried to touch my feet. Oh no, Swamiji, I said. You are a sannyasin and a scholar. Also, you are 20 years my elder. I have no right to accept your prostration. He replied, For the first time I know what enlightenment is. I know now that I must leave understanding and all that I learned behind. Then I found light, then I found myself. I have been fooling and cheating so many people. Right now I am going to tell all my devotees the truth. When can I come back to see you? Swamiji, you do not need to come back. I replied, Later, I heard that this arrogant Swami was totally transformed and happy and had gone into a long retreat somewhere. So get rid of all the notions that you have entertained and just be free. Freedom is already waiting for you for millions of years. But you still entertain doubts and fears like, I will be born, I will suffer, I will grow old, and I will die. Do this now. Don't postpone it even for a moment. In between the past and future, who are you? You are not to do any exercise or any meditation. Here you will feel light. Can any death enter this moment? This is your own place, your own abode. Stay here. My father's death took me to a deep, timeless silence, and my mother died as if dancing. And as she said goodbye to her body, we were one flame of love. Both of their deaths gave me so much love and freedom. Being with you brings me back to this beautiful gift. Papaji, can you tell me the secret of a beautiful death? It is an excellent death when somebody can die in full consciousness and say goodbye to the relations. This is very beautiful because most go crying and suffering due to attachments. At the time of death, it can be a very painful affair for the person who is dying if they are attached to things. Then it is like tearing a sheet of cloth off a thorny bush. The thorns of attachment stick to the sheet of your mind and cause great pain. I saw one man who was dying, and he was fighting with those who came to take him away. He even had a revolver and fought for 1 hour until he lay dead. But a rare person without attachment only feels that the breath has stopped. Like this, he doesn't feel anything, only that the breath has stopped and it is finished. This is the death of an easy person, one who has been devoted to their own cause. They will have a beautiful departure from this universe. Even animals can have this beautiful death. Once an elephant who had 3 wives and 5 children went to the lake for a bath. As he entered the lake, immediately a huge crocodile caught his leg and started to pull. He loved his wives and children and cried for their help, but they just stood and watched. So he was dragged into the deep waters, and he lifted up his trunk above the water to breathe one last time. As he lifted his trunk, he saw a lotus flower and picked it and offered it to someone unknown to him for help, and looking toward the skies cried for help. Now, of course, someone who the elephant had never thought of before instantly appeared and crushed the crocodile's jaws and released the elephant. The elephant went back to the bank of the lake, but did not speak to his wives and children and went alone to the deep forest, realizing that the attachments that you are so involved with are of no help. But this is going to help you. He never returned, but after his death he went to the heavens. The last thought, the last breath can help anyone. I am afraid of death and I feel like I am dying. Everybody will die. Everybody. Are your grandparents still here? Are your parents? This dying will go on as you become the grandparents of your grandchildren. So don't worry about the death of the body. What is born must die. Don't worry about it. There is a pleasure in death which cannot be found in life. Don't have the desire of keeping your body because when it gets old, it is good that it dies. Bodies which are alive after they are too old are not good bodies to have. I will tell you a story about a group of people who wanted to keep their bodies young. There is a tunnel or cave near Taxila. As the death of Alexander the Great was imminent, though he was only 32, he came to visit this cave. He had been told by a yogi on the banks of the river Jhelum that he would die young, and so he came to this cave which had a lake of the nectar of immortality in it. The only problem was that whoever went to investigate this lake never returned. Alexander, of course, was very clever, and so he rode a mare into the cave and kept her newly born colt at the entrance of the cave. He entrusted his life to the mare's sense of smell and her desire to return to her colt. He eventually found this lake which had about 25 people living on its shores. He asked them who they were, and they replied, "We once heard of this lake and came to drink its nectar. But now we are 10,000 years old, and though we are sick of this life, we cannot die. We cannot die the blessed death." As I said, he was very wise, and so after speaking to these living skeletons, who didn't even know what yuga it was, he went back without tasting the nectar and tasted his natural death instead. So your body will live in this market for 100 years. But don't worry, the market does not belong to you. It belongs to another person, and it will take care of it as it was taken care of before your birth and will be taken care of after your death. Your focus and responsibility is only to the one which has created this world and who will look after it. By not believing this, we fall into trouble. Do not fear death.